Liverpool's Ajax 11 is revealed. Liverpool will face Ajax tonight and Jürgen Klopp needs to prepare his team for a different game after last week's defeat against Napoli. The Reds were humiliated by losing 4-1 in a completely rudderless performance at Napoli. Due to the death of Queen Elizabeth II on Thursday, the Premier League match against Wolverhampton has been cancelled. Obviously, this break has provided a good advantage for Liverpool. Returning to Napoli, the team needed some time to clear its head. Liverpool now need to make a comeback against Ajax with a performance that will make them forget last week's Napoli game. Alisson may have conceded 4 goals from Napoli, but we can't just blame him. And therefore the Brazilian player is expected to start again tonight. In the centre-back, Virgil van Dijk looks out of shape at the moment, but he certainly won't lose his spot. The Dutchman's partner was Joe Gomez last game, and he made unimaginable mistakes. All 3 conceded goals were faulty and Klopp was able to hold out for half a half. In the second half, Joel Matip was included in the game. Virgil van Dijk-Joel Matip duo is expected to start in tonight's Ajax match. Trent Alexander-Arnold is currently in a similar situation to Van Dijk. There has been a decline in his performance since the beginning of the season and he needs to recover. But no one doubts its quality. Moreover, the young talent Calvin Ramsey hired to back him up is the only one in his position as he has been injured since his arrival. Milner has been involved in some games in his place, but Klopp's choice tonight will be Trent Alexander-Arnold. Looking at the left back, Andrew Robertson will unfortunately miss this game. At the press conference held yesterday, Klopp announced that the star player was injured and would be out of the field for at least 3 weeks. Kostas Tsimikas is expected to make his second start to the season tonight. The Greek player always performs well when given a chance and Liverpool fans must be excited to see him tonight. Midfield remains a problem for Jürgen Klopp, but Fabinho's place is guaranteed against Ajax tonight. Klopp is confident in the stability of the Brazilian player's performance. Harvey Elliott, who made a good start this season, is also expected to start in the starting 11. As you know, after the bad results, a controversy started due to the lack of defensive contribution from Elliott. However, Klopp relies on the young talent's offensive merits and thinks he adds quality to the midfield. Elliott is expected to be on the field tonight. James Milner's performance last game wasn't good enough and he looks like he's going to be cut off tonight. Thiago Alcantara, who was injured in the Fulham match, the first match of the league, returned to the team last week with the Napoli match. Klopp will take on Thiago Alcantara in the starting 11 tonight. On the offensive line, there are 2 names whose place is guaranteed. Luis Diaz and Mohamed Salah. Salah on the right and Luis Diaz on the left are expected to start tonight. However, there are many candidates who can play in the middle of these 2. Roberto Firmino was Klopp's first choice in most games. Moreover, this season has started well. Now Diogo Jota is back and wants the jersey. Moreover, the new transfer is waiting for the form in Darwin Nunez. Klopp is expected to choose Darwin Nunez from these 3 choices. However, Klopp is definitely considering giving Jota a chance in the future. Goretzka bomb from Liverpool. Liverpool's search for a midfielder continues. Bayern Munich's £58 million midfielder known to be unhappy at Bayern could be an opportunity for Liverpool. The Reds have some serious midfield issues to contend with and next summer looks like an extremely important summer for rebuilding. Even with Arthur Melo signing on the last day, there is still a lot of work to be done, especially given that the contracts of James Milner, Naby Keita and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain are due to expire next summer. A potential midfielder alternative is Bayern Munich's Leon Goretzka, who has fallen out of favor with the club despite everything he has achieved in Germany. According to reports from German sources, Goretzka wants to get more time before the World Cup and aims to go to the World Cup in form. However, on the inside, Sabitzer is seen as a better defensive stabilizer. Since Joshua Kimmich also completes his game more, the option with Sabitzer is preferred. The German player earns around £197,000 a week, which is not a high amount for a talented player. It is said that because Goretzka could not get the minutes he wanted before the World Cup, his relationship with his teacher Nagelsmann could deteriorate, and the grumbling has already begun. Goretzka has experienced a decline in market value over the past year. Despite all these good seasons, he lost his place in the team to Marcel Sabitzer. Although he has suffered from injury problems recently, Julian Nagelsmann still sees him as a very important player at the club. His deal won't expire until 2026, which means it's going to be pretty expensive for a reserve player, especially considering his £197,000 a week match is not much for a player of his talent. Liverpool had wanted to sign him as he entered the last year of his contract at 2020, but the German player chose to stay at Bayern Munich and made a new deal until 2026. The German midfielder has made a name for himself as a strong yet technically cunning midfielder who can contribute at either end of the field. Fans will remember that he changed from a weaker physique to a strong physique. The 27-year-old player has participated and experienced in big matches for the club and the country. He only had 3 goals and 3 assists last season, but was a key Bayern player in the 2019-2020 season. That season, he scored 8 goals and recorded 11 assists in all lanes. Judging by his stats, he presents a strong offensive threat for a midfielder. He is in the 99th percentile for total number of shots and non-penalty goal expectation. However, he also makes progressive moves, and 10 gained, assists, progressive passes and shot creations. There's no denying that he's a really effective midfielder when in form. Liverpool have long lacked someone with these offensive qualities in the midfield and could be a great solution to their midfield problems. Do you think Goretzka is the name Liverpool is looking for? Rafael van der Vaart slams Liverpool and picks 3 very normal players. Rafael van der Vaart claimed Liverpool had a mediocre team when key players were not performing, adding that the 3 Reds were very normal. Van der Vaart's former team, Ajax, head to Anfield tonight to face Liverpool in the second round of the Champions League group stage fixture. The Dutch team are now at the top of Group A after beating Rangers 4-0 last week, while the Reds got off to a bad start, losing 4-1 to Napoli. And those starts reflected local form, with Alfred Schreuder topping the Eredivisie with 6 wins over the Eredivisie, while Jürgen Klopp's men took just 2 wins from the same number of matches. The former Netherlands and Tottenham midfielder described the Reds as very mediocre and selected 3 players for criticism. "I think we went a little blind," Van der Vaart said. "Suddenly we think Jordan Henderson is a crazy player. He's just a very normal player. James Milner is a very normal player too. Joe Gomez is a very normal player. Virgil van Dijk is top level, he's good at right back and left back. But if things don't go well and these players aren't in their day, then I think it's a very mediocre team." Despite his indifference to some of the Liverpool squad, Van der Vaart admitted he is still concerned about tonight's clash. Dangerous offensive guns Luis Diaz and Mohamed Salah will have a pretty tough fight against 2 Ajax fullbacks. "The only thing I fear for Ajax is, if Luis Diaz and Mohamed Salah are on their good days, then we have a serious problem. Then Ajax will never win. I don't think Daley Blind and Divine Wrench are good enough for that," said the Dutchman. It is impossible not to agree with Van der Vaart about the mediocrity of the 3 names. The 2 names he counts are on the old side of the midfield and the other is Joe Gomez, who made the team last week. Milner can't be expected to be an outstanding performer given his age, but Klopp didn't want him to stay in the team anyway to put him in the starting 11. After some setbacks and unfortunate injuries, he wanted him to stay to throw him on the field and use him as a joker. However, at this point, the Liverpool midfielder is almost gone and Klopp has to play Milner and Henderson. If we evaluate it in this way, we should not ignore the fact that injuries paved the way for these names. As for Joe Gomez, I think it was a mistake for Liverpool to extend his contract with him. Gomez has been at the club for years but hasn't made any explosions and is always on the bench. If he had continued his development until this time, he would have already lost the jersey. With Matip's injury looming a new opportunity, he spurned it and played one of the matches that could have been a bad moment in his Liverpool career. I think Joe Gomez isn't even mediocre. He's a below average player.